Hello everybody, it is Kate. Today we're talking about another movie. This movie is The Perfect Man with Hilary Duff. So our main character is Holly, her younger sister named Zoe, and then her mom named Jean. And then we have a few love interests and a few friends, but that is the main family. And they move around a lot because their mother, lots of things to say about this woman, they move around the country a lot because anytime the mom is heartbroken and breaks up with someone, they leave town. She's scared of being single and she is obsessed with dating. So the first man who shows any interest in her, she dates them. And those people usually end up being not good or they cheat on her or whatever. She breaks up with them and then she leaves town and they move like across country and they move all these things. They're just moved to New York City. And the mom is a baker and she works as a baker and she makes like cakes and baked goods. I am explaining way over the top. And Holly goes to her first day of high school and she meets a girl named Amy and they become best friends. And she's like a Brooklyn diva. So she has like the thick Brooklyn accent and she's like, yeah, you have to get like a tattoo and piercings in 5th grade, blah, blah, blah. That is when we meet our main love interest for Holly named Adam. And he is so nice. So he's like a comic book nerd, so he draws a bunch of comic books and I love him. He's like the best. He's the perfect man in this movie. But she takes his seat in class and then he's like, oh, so immediately it's like, oh no, is there gonna be tension? But like immediately there's not.
It's my seat, but
Why don't you take one of those?
I don't like sitting up front.
Me neither.
And there's a student parent-teacher conference, and the mom immediately is like, there should be a thing for single parents. There should be like a meet and greet.
I also wondered if you thought of monthly mixers for single parents. Sometimes we single parents have different concerns than married ones, different priorities. And by priorities, I mean, I need to meet a good man.
This mom is so selfish. Like, I can't even explain how much it annoys me because she's just such a bad mother. Holly is so embarrassed. So she goes to school the next day and then, oh, it's so sweet. So Adam goes up to her and is like, oh yeah, like everyone's talking about this thing. And she's like, oh no, it's at the parent teacher conference. And he's like, yeah, Krispy Kreme donut truck like crashed and there are a ton of free donuts. And then it's so cute. He's like, yeah, so like no one even remembers anything that happened before this morning. Being like, don't worry about what happened last night at the parent-teacher conference. It's so sweet.
You know what the entire student body is talking about this morning?
The Krispy Kreme truck that got in a wreck on 8th Avenue. There's donuts everywhere. It's a total free-for-all. Between the excitement and the sugar buzz, everyone's pretty much forgotten everything that happened before 8 o'clock this morning.
We also meet Lenny, who works with the mom at the bakery. This man, he's like an immature man who can't take no for an answer, which is very scary. But the mom agrees to go on a date with him. So that's super great and awesome. He takes her to a Styx cover band concert. He says it's just Styx, but then it's just a cover band and he's sobbing hysterically while they are on the date. He's holding her hand with his lighter in the air and he's like full on sobbing. It is so ridiculous. Like, obviously you can be emotional as a grown man, but please, please, please do not do it on a first date, diva. Amy, Holly's best friend, Amy and Holly go to Amy's uncle's restaurant. His name is Ben. Ben owns this like fancy Italian restaurant, and then some others start talking about like love and stuff, and he's like, you would give a woman you really like orchids because that means all these things. It's so much better because you want to give them to yellow rose because that's what you get for your sick grandma. Holly doesn't want her mom to go after Lenny because she's like, Lenny's a bad guy and he's gonna break her heart and then we're gonna move again. And she's starting to like it because she has her best friend Amy, who they immediately click and they become like besties. So she delivers an orchid to her apartment and is like, Mom, your secret admirer brought this. And it's creepy as hell because it's like, how did you get the dress? Because it's like, I saw you at the bakery, wanted to give you a flower, your secret admirer. And she's like, maybe it's Lenny. It is obviously not Lenny. Lenny can barely form a coherent sentence. So Holly takes a picture of Ben and sends it to the mom and is like, this is a picture of me because she was talking about like she doesn't know what this guy looks like. And he's like apparently her type. He's pretty much like, yeah, I'm in China. Opening a new restaurant because like she's using a lot of qualities in Ben and is kind of being like mirroring it off of Ben because she's like, Ben seems like the perfect type for my mom, but she's not putting it together that she should just introduce Ben and the mom, and she already sent the picture. She's like, now I can't. So she starts emailing the mom through a random email that she made, but she has to do it at Adam's house because she doesn't want the mom to see the emails if she's on the computer because it'll be through the same person, whatever. So they start messaging back and forth and Adam is just letting her do this in his room, and he's like trying to like talk to her and chit chat, and she's just like, to my gorgeous blah blah blah, but it's like she's talking to her mom, so it's like you're catfishing your mother so she doesn't move towns. So it's very clear that Adam is very into Holly, and that's why he's letting her do all this stuff. So then like the mom and her are starting to like keep messaging, right? And Holly, like, what did you want to do? Or like, tell me a little bit more about your life and stuff. And they're just like private messaging, instant messaging. This is so old. Literally, You've Got Mail, but it's with the daughter. And the mom's like, I wanted to be a famous baker, but then I got pregnant and I had to give up my dream. Like, she wanted to be like Julia Child. Holly's like, oh my gosh, my mom gave up everything for me. But then the mom is like, and then Holly's like, do you regret it? Because she's like, what if my mom says yes, she regrets having kids and she wanted to do her career instead? But then the mom is like, I would give up the entire world for them. I love them so much. And then Holly starts crying, and then she goes back, and then she's like, Mom, there's this like famous baking competition that you should totally go into. Then she like gives her the pamphlet, and she's like, you should totally do this. And it's weird because she's learning more about her mom, but it's a little creepy because it's under the guise of being a man that the mom is attracted to. So then there's a wedding shower that the mom is going to for one of her friends at Ben's restaurant. So Amy and Holly have to stop, like they have to like distract the two people, because it's like if the mom sees Ben, she's gonna think this is her secret admirer because they've sent the picture of Ben, which like, why would you use a real picture of someone who lives in the city? And they pull the sprinkler alarm so everyone gets out, and then they don't see each other, luckily. So they're like, whew, that was a close one. Then later that evening, she's like, I really gotta break these people up because I feel so bad, and I want to tell them that like this is them, because I think Ben and my mom would be really good together. So she enlists Adam's help to call their mom and pretend like have a deeper voice and be like, can you break up with my mom on the phone? Adam calls, and then he starts being like, I feel lots of things for, because he's like kind of talking to Holly. And so he couldn't do it. He couldn't break up with her. And then he quickly hangs up the phone because he like couldn't do it. So she's really pissed off because she's like, you were supposed to fucking tell him that you're breaking up with her. Right after she hangs up the phone, like the mom is super emotional on the phone because she's like, I just feel like everything is wrong in my life sometimes, and I'm so glad I met you, and blah, 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 blah.
I mean, everything's been so messed up, and I started feeling
Clearer. Really like someone.
And then Lenny comes back to her apartment and sings her a song, climbs over some stuff, goes up the fire escape, and proposes. After one date.
Marry me?
And you know what's worse than that? She says she'll think about it. She just got off the phone of Ben confessing that he really cares for her, and now she's like, I'm gonna think about the marriage. Holly's trying to convince her, being like, do not marry Lenny. Do not marry. She's like, I thought about it. So she has the ring because she's like, I'll think about it, Lenny. Holly goes to the restaurant, Ben's restaurant, and is like, I need to show him. She printed out all of the emails between fake Ben and Holly's mom, and is like, I want him to read this because they're perfect for each other, and my mom she can't marry Lenny because Lenny's a mom, like, we hate Lenny, right? She finds out that he is going to a wedding, so she thinks it's his wedding, because earlier he saw her, like, being friendly with a woman. So she runs to the courthouse, or the church, runs and is like, you can't marry him, you've been talking to my mom. The bride slaps the groom, who is not Ben, he is just the caterer. And the woman he was talking to was the bride. And they were like really close, like old friends. So he was like helping her out with the catering. She's like, wrong wedding. Whoops. Sorry. She quickly runs out. She's like, I just fucked up this wedding. I'm so sorry. And then she like hands Ben the envelope with all the things, and she tells him everything. And he's like, and then she runs off. She calls the mom again and pretends to be fake Ben's secretary and is like, meet me under the bridge. We really need to talk. I got back from China and I want to see you. So she's like, I'm hoping to call off the wedding, or to make my mom say no to Lenny. Her mom is waiting there. She tells her mom everything. Her mom is super pissed off, which makes sense, but I also think that it's like, you should reflect and be like, if my daughter thinks the only way to get me to stay in this town is because like I need a man, like I think that should be a major reflection on the way that she feels like the only way she can be honest with her feelings about wanting to stay here. Holly even says it, where she's like, you hear me, but you don't listen. Like, you can understand what I'm saying, but you just completely ignore what I want. I've never wanted to move. I hate moving. You make us do it all the time. I just keep my mouth shut because you would not listen any other way.
I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was trying to make you happy.
Oh, well, you have a lot to learn about happiness.
You haven't exactly shown me a roadmap, Mom.
Oh, so this is my fault. I brought this humiliation on myself. What, because we moved around a little bit?
A little?
Whatever, a lot. You never seemed to mind.
Yes, I did. You just never heard any of it if it wasn't about you.
She gets mad at Ben. She gets mad at Ben because she's like, why did you call and not break up with her? So then like he talks to her and he kisses her because she's like mad about not saying stuff to the mom. And he shows her a comic that he's been working on, and then it shows her being like, he's like, you don't let anyone in. And then she is like, screw you, and walks off. And part of it is because she's like, I can't get attached to this boy because we're gonna be moving again. And then she sees the artwork and she's like, that's so rude of you. So she's like, we have to go. So she's like, Mom, we have to leave. And then the mom's just like, okay, we're leaving. So the mom goes on the instant messaging with Adam and is like, thanks for the drawing. It was really sweet. Because on the back it shows like him and her being like, he's like, I'll always be there for you. And she catfishes like a 16-year-old kid. And then the mom is talking to Holly and is like, you can't just run it from all your problems like I do. I'm trying to do better. And she's like, Adam's a nice kid, man. And then she turns the drawing over and sees the other side of it. And it's like, oh my gosh, he actually cares about me. That's so sweet. So then she's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't go. So they decide not to leave. She and Adam make up. They go to prom or homecoming or one of the dances together. And they're both like kind of nervous. It's so sweet. And then the mom does the baking competition and she wins, which is fun. And then she opens her own bakery. And Ben comes in and then he's like, so like I heard a lot about you, because Holly kind of was like, you should talk to my mom. Because they're still in contact, I guess. They decide to go on a date. So it's assumed that everyone is happy.
So pick you up Saturday at 8.
And that is the end of the movie. But it was like a fine movie, I guess. I love Hilary Duff. It was a fun movie. I watched it with my sister, so we were just kind of giggling and chit-chatting the whole time. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, because if you don't, someone's gonna catfish you and pretend that you've fallen in love with them, and then it's gonna turn out that it's just another person. Okay, anyways. Bye!